Alright guys, GM, it's a beautiful day and I'm just showing up to the Oxford City Football Club to speak with a gentleman by the name of Coach Carbon. And yeah, really excited about this chat. Two Bitcoiners coming together talking about Bitcoin. He's really involved in the community, so I'm interested in diving into how Bitcoin is changing people's lives on the local level, and how he's involved with, helping out kids and improving their soccer game, and also how Bitcoin changes that. Super interested to get his take on how Bitcoin changes that and everything else. So stay tuned, smash subscribe, smash like, if you're into that conversation about Bitcoin, and let's get straight into it. So, got it. Hey.
You're good.
Carbon, how we doing?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to finally meet you as well.
A lot of orange going on.
A whole lot of orange going on. Just the way I like it. All right, so I am Colby, and I'm sitting here with Josias of the Bitcoin Ballers Football Club, and you go by Coach Carbon.
That's right, yeah.
And I don't even know how we came into contact. I think it was Bitcoin Twitter.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just happened to see him, like, he's in Oxford, so it worked out. I'm like, I definitely need to connect with you. And also I saw that you're working with the Coin Corner guys as well, some of whom I met up at the UK Bitcoin conference. So yeah, it's just super good to sit down and chat about BTC.
It's a shame the orange for that wasn't up and running, that we probably would have met on there.
Probably so. Probably so. So what do you want to jump into first? Because I want to talk to you about obviously Bitcoin. I want to talk to you about community. I know you work with the kids, and you work with the football club around here of different ages and range. So definitely want to talk to you about like how you are integrating Bitcoin into the community and how that's changing things. There's a ton I want to talk to you about, but where do you want to get started?
Should we start with the rabbit hole journey?
Yeah, let's start. Yeah. What's your story? How did you get orange pilled? That's a great place to start for sure.
So like many people, you have various touch points with Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. I missed out. I missed the opportunity. I didn't see it early on. So in 2017, I made my first touch point. 2018, start of the year, I tell people this all the time. My former life was construction. I was a project manager. In my site office, my site manager was mining Bitcoin. He had his GPU in the office, brought in his gaming chair, and I'm looking thinking, we've got a job to do, what are you doing? We had little discussions about finance, and on another job, I was on the labourer, was in the small cabin trading, and I was trying to tell him about my shares in Tesco's, which I was really proud of, that had made, I think, £5 in a week. And
yeah.
Looking back, he probably looked at me and thought, what an idiot. But
this was the same guy?
Different guy, different touch points, okay. Similar sort of time frame.
He was trading? Yeah,
so the labourer was trading, and my site manager was mining at the time, and again, didn't really look into it. There was a conversation, well, I still call it a conversation, a question was asked. And the reason why I do what I do now is because I think I want to be the person that I felt I should have had, but also being mindful that I should have asked more questions. So my question was, what is mining? Because I'd seen it in the news, I'd seen that people were going to colder climates, I don't understand why. So my question was, what is mining there? Mm-hmm. And the guy, the site manager, he laughed, and then there was another labourer on site, and they laughed. I mean, it's not actual mining. They're not digging in the ground. So I put up a front, I'm like, whatever, I'm not interested. And the conversation finished there, and I felt, looking back now, maybe I should have asked more questions and not been so proud. That would be laughed at. And for them, or for him, I think he should have known, like, it's actually this, and explained it more. So whenever I have discussions with people, I'll bear that in mind. I think I want to be that person that I felt I should have had. So we can have a laugh and a joke, but I'm going to provide you with some nuggets of information. Mm-hmm. Not going to force you to understand it, but I think if you ask certain questions, I can kind of direct you into resources that I think will help you understand it more.
100%. And I feel like if you really have an understanding of what Bitcoin is, right, you're going to want to share it with people.
Yeah.
And I think that obviously at any point in the journey, whether it's your first touch point of like, everybody has pretty much heard about Bitcoin at this point in time, right? But I found that very few people actually have a fundamental understanding of the technology.
Yeah.
And so I feel the same way. Like, I definitely want to get people more information and data about the technology, because I think that once you start to learn about it, you can't help but see value. And so I'm curious, like, do you still keep in touch with any of those folks?
No, I don't. I have actually looked for the site manager, but he left the company and we lost contact. Haven't found him on social media, but I think I should probably go back and do a deeper dive.
And it's the proof of work mining that really put it together for me. Like, that's what really clicked, because thankfully I skipped over the shitcoinery.
Okay.
Like, I didn't go through, most people it seems in crypto, and I'm curious whether or not you went through a shitcoining stage before you arrived at just pretty much Bitcoining.
I'll get to that. So 2018, Touchpoint dismissed it. Obviously 2020, I call that for me the year of the awakening.
Love it.
A lot of things I thought didn't seem right, the lockdowns, the C word. And I was always looking for a way out of the industry anyway. I didn't like construction. I liked the building, the carpentry work, the work I was trained in, but I was in a project manager, paperwork, health and safety. And I remember around that time, obviously, when COVID was happening, the amount of paperwork and health and safety, and I think this is stopping us from working. So I just wanted to get out of the
bureaucracy, regulation,
red tape,
all the fiat stuff, yeah?
blame culture. You can find yourself in the dock for not signing a certain bit of paper or not getting someone else to sign a bit of paper. And that never sat well with me. And I wasn't shirking responsibility, but now how I understand what time, energy and value was, my time, I was wasting it. I wasn't getting value back in terms of the effort I was putting in. That I wasn't getting the reward. The monetary reward was there, but the intrinsic feeling of I'm creating a better society, I'm giving value to the community, it wasn't there. So around 2018, I was doing lots in the health and wellness industry. So when COVID happened, there were redundancies going at work. So I volunteered. I said, I'm going to take a leap of faith. What that afforded me was free time, which people undervalue or don't understand the value of it. So with the free time, I was doing a lot of reading, a lot of listening, just general podcasts. And at the same time, a friend of mine said, do you want to speak about crypto? Or in the group chat, who wants to speak about crypto? So I said, yes. So he said, I'll send him a private message. And his first words were, you've got to do your own research.
100%.
And I'm thankful to that guy, a good friend of mine, we've known each other since we were very young, for that comment, because of the time I had, I just consumed so much content. And I liken it to The Matrix, when Neo plugs in and he's learning, and he wakes up and goes, I know Kung Fu. And it was like, every podcast I listened to, I was doing 12 hours a day, YouTube videos, books. And so I condensed, I would say, probably 2-3 years of people's learning in the space of a month. I came out the other side and was like, what is this? And again, it wasn't the money, people come in for the number go up, but stay for the revolution. For me, it was understanding what the technology is and what it can become. So from there, I was orange pilled. And then you spoke about the shitcoinery.
Yeah, 2020?
This is 2020, end of 2020.
The year of the awakening.
The year of the awakening. So we had obviously the bull market, or bull run. So it was a good time to learn and understand about Bitcoin. Joined a learning group, met with Bitcoiners across the world. We used to meet on a regular basis via Zoom. So we talk about shitcoinery. At the time, going backwards, to 2017, I was introduced to a coin, which I had invested in, knew nothing about it. The person that created the coin had a use case, it seemed really good. Investing in it, do you know about Bitcoin? I was like, no, and I completely forgot about this conversation. And to buy the coin, you had to buy Bitcoin. And that was fine, but I didn't have an account, so I went through the person, they bought the Bitcoin for me and converted it to the coin. It was a set it and forget it. I understood the risk, could go to zero. For me, it was an investment. Looking back now, I think if I was that person, I would have said, learn about Bitcoin first, but obviously that wasn't in their interest. Maybe they hadn't fully understood Bitcoin. But for me, It was the fact that I had a touch point with Bitcoin and didn't understand it, and know what I know now, the amount that was invested. You're talking now in monetary terms, life-changing money. But for me, I say to people, that was the price of my education. I didn't do my own research.
So did you get burned on the other coin?
Again, I wouldn't say burn. I would say that was my education thing.
You learned.
People pay that price to go to university to learn about something.
Yeah.
But the education and the knowledge I have from that time up until now, and knowing what I can achieve in a space in terms of giving back to the community, it's not something I'm going to lose sleep over.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point about how it's not just about the number go up. It's about changing things, and it's about improving quality of life. So I like that perspective of like, if you there's a process, right? Like, and so that was the price of your education. Like, as long as you learn something, a lot of people get burned by crypto, right? Yeah. And they say, sod that, like, I'm not gonna get burned. And they don't look at it as the price of education and learn from it and grow from it. And that was, to go to like my orange pill story, like I basically dismissed crypto and Bitcoin because I was associating Bitcoin with crypto. Like it was all the same thing to me, and I just thought, it's bullshit. And my main objection is that it's not real, of course. And my main objection was, well, what makes Bitcoin different than any of these other cryptos? And it was when I started to, I read the Bitcoin Standard. So that was really what connected the dots for me. It was just basically that one book connected the dots for me because I was already a gold bug.
Okay.
Like, actually I was more a silver bug than a gold bug, but I saw value in precious metals, and particularly physical precious metals, because I knew that the market is papered over. 99% of the precious metals market is just derivatives and contracts. So I saw a weak point in that, like, basically if people see value in precious metals and if they actually take delivery of it,
the self-ownership,
it changes the game, because the banks are kind of running a scam, I guess you could put it that way.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and so like, they are selling gold and silver that they don't have, and they're washing out the speculators, and they're just making a habit of this rinse and repeat cycle where the banks just, just basically run off with people's money in the precious metals.
And if it works for them, they're going to continue to do it.
And they've been doing it for a long time. I mean, J.P. Morgan settled for, I can't remember the figure, but it was the largest, it was a criminal case against their metals trading desk. And if you ask Jamie Dimon, he says that there's no value in Bitcoin and whatnot. But it's an interesting time that we live in, where Bitcoin is really changing kind of everything, and we're early to where, like, most people, you ask them about Bitcoin, they've heard of it, but they don't fundamentally understand that like it's true digital scarcity. Most people don't even know, like, there's only ever going to be 21 million coins. Most people don't know that you can buy part of a Bitcoin, down to the 100 millionth per coin, right? So like each Bitcoin divisible by 100 million. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
And so that all the points you mentioned there, for me, that it's all about the education process. And you're not going to get that in a 2-minute conversation with somebody. So when I'm speaking with someone, I'm going to say to them, these are the resources that I would advise you going to go and check out. Come back to me with any questions, but understand this process took me, I'm still learning now, still going down the rabbit hole, 2.5 years in, but I was able to amass a lot of content in a certain amount of time. I know a lot of people haven't got that. And I've changed my tact. Because when I learned about Bitcoin, went down the rabbit hole, COVID was happening, the draconian society, it was a case of everyone needs to be saved. Now I understand, okay, we might have a bit more time. People will find Bitcoin when they're ready for it. But in the meantime, I'm going to do what I can to help people that I know and love, but also the wider community.
Yeah, and let's talk about the wider community. and before we jump into that, don't you think that thinking in terms of Satoshis instead of thinking in terms of Bitcoin changes the game?
Yeah.
From a perspective
Definitely.
of like, especially when you're talking with people that are like, hey, Bitcoin is what, 15,000 pounds, give or take. That's a lot of money, and you know, I can buy 10,000 Doge for whatever it is, 50 quid or whatever it is.
That's
I have no
exactly
idea.
Yeah. There is a unit bias.
Yeah.
So prime example here at Oxford City Football Club, you can buy a coffee, you can buy a Coke, a portion of chips, but you're paying in sats.
Yeah.
So when you see the on screen on the mobile device, it will show in sats. So people are going to be orange pilled that way, easier.
Powered by Coin Corner.
Powered by Coin Corner, yeah.
Love
So
it.
yeah, when people see price action, Bitcoin's down, I'm trying to take people away from the big number and relating it to Satoshi's sats. But also, when people say, "Oh, you can't spend Bitcoin," I'm like, "Well, money, cash you have in your hand, that's unrealized Bitcoin anyway. So money that you would possibly invest in Bitcoin, you spend your Bitcoin, the cash you have, you just top it back up." And when people start to understand it that way, actually, I'm not spending my Bitcoin, I'm just spending money that I would have had in cash anyway, that I will then convert later on. So yeah, there might be a slight difference in time for the time you top up, but it's going to be minimal.
Yeah, because the idea is, you know, at this point in time, you probably don't want to be selling your Bitcoin, as in you probably want to be accumulating.
Exactly,
your
you're going to
Bitcoin.
be stacking sats, yes.
It's time to stack sats, and especially now, right? Because this is like truly, I think, a generational opportunity.
Well, I was speaking to somebody earlier on, we said it was like a time machine. You're able to buy Bitcoin now at you were at 2017 prices.
Wow.
So it's like a second chance.
Yeah, seriously, and so many people are like, "Hey, I wish if it was to dip down to 35, I would be buying hand over fist." And then, you know, the people that actually have the resolve to do that when it's down, because, you know, it's kind of scary, especially when you're looking at it in fiat terms, right?
Yeah.
There's some people just look at it like, "Hey, I want to whatever dollar cost average, and I want to accumulate it, you know, I want to accumulate Bitcoin to hold it for a long period of time." Their time preference is low because they see the value into the future.
We live in a fast society, so we want everything now.
Instant gratification.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
So there's that, but there's also the belief. There's a lot of self-doubt in the world. Again, that goes down to the instant gratification. Because you haven't possibly spent the time, dedicated the time and be disciplined, you're not going to achieve the results you want instantaneously. It's going to take time. And first of all, are we encouraging people to do that? But then are we giving them the tools and the space for
The training.
Exactly. And the society we live in, we don't. You look at the education system, you need to get those grades. We need to test people. We need to do it at the end of every year. Well, that child might be ready at the end of that year. That might take them 2 years to understand that.
100%. And it's all about like the fiat education system. I disagree with how the institution of education, it's not really about education. It's just about pushing kids through standardized stuff, and they don't really care if you learn it or not. It's mostly about like just memorizing,
learn to pass the specific grade questions to get that grade. Then it looks good on our CV. Then we can recruit more people, and then you can go off into that line of work because you've hit that grade. But do you really have an understanding? And that industry that you've gone into, is it something that you want to do? You may want to try it out, but you go on that ladder, that rat race, the hamster wheel, and all of a sudden you're stuck.
That's all it is, right? Like the institution. Obviously, my experience is going to be mostly with the public education system in the United States, but like it's probably the same here.
Yeah,
and it's just like it's putting kids into a box and teaching them how to get on that hamster wheel, how not to challenge authority, how not to have they don't teach you anything about financial wherewithal or real financial education.
So I argue that's done on purpose. Some people say it's just an offshoot of the way it was set up and it's not intentional. I would argue that it is intentional.
I wouldn't argue with you on that.
Yeah.
I would not dispute that.
Because 2.5 years, I think this every day. Things that I'm interested in now, macro, microeconomics. I'm learning about security laws. that's not something that I would have been interested in before, but it's something that I should have known about. But now I know about it, I'm interested about it.
Securities laws not for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's not a security.
No,
which really differentiates
but
it.
That's what I mean. But by learning about Bitcoin, I'm then, not say forced, but I look into what's going on in the current climate. Oh,
yeah.
Why do they need to be worried about that? Okay, why does that not affect Bitcoin, or why is that good for Bitcoin? But then you're looking at news events, you're looking at social media from a different angle.
100%. And like, if a system like the education system, if it produces kids that are getting in trouble, if it produces kids that don't know anything about money, if it puts them into colleges that put them into massive amounts of debt, which is a huge problem, right? Like, kids are graduating with degrees, they're going into a tough job market, and they've got a huge amount of debt. And then, of course, the government just kind of says, oh, like, we'll take care of that for you, and we'll forgive the debt and just print more money.
Exactly.
It all, if the system produces a certain result, consistency, then the system's probably designed to do that.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. Like, that's probably not an accident. And it's fiat, right? Like, fiat, it's a perversion of money, right? Like, when you talk to Bitcoiners, it's refreshing because, like, there's already an understanding of a lot of this stuff, and it's like, we don't even need to like I already know that when I sit down with a Bitcoiner, there's going to be some mutual understanding on a lot of things.
Yeah. So you can come from any walk of life, but if you have a basic understanding of Bitcoin, you have a certain shared belief or shared beliefs, and so, like, yeah, as you say, the conversation is a lot different when you meet someone for the first time.
Yeah, big time. Yo, I really appreciate you having me. Where can people find you? You've got shirts. You've got a lot of. You've got the club. You've got your community outreach stuff.
So coachcarbon.live is my website.
Okay.
www.coachcarbon.live. That's where everything's hosted. But you can find me on Instagram, Coach Carbon, LinkedIn, Coach Carbon. But I have to let people know as well. I forget people don't know my name. So my name is Josias Carbon. Carbon is my surname, but it ties in with the Bitcoin, as in carbon is a diamond. I have my diamond tattoo, which I got when I got married, but I say to people now, my diamond hands are now fixed to my diamond shoulders.
Let's go.
Bitcoin Borders is part of the wealth education, as I call it, as Coach Carbon.
These are dope.
So you
can
buy the shirt on the website. We're also hosted on Geyser. So
cool.
check out Geyser Fund with what we're doing with the community. Obviously, we put on competitions, we put on events and training sessions.
Yeah.
But we're also now linked with other charities that are hosted on Geyser. So a portion of our funds will go to charities. At the moment, the festival that we're hosting next week, some of the money will go to Amity Age. They're a charity that are based in Rotan in Honduras.
Oh, cool.
So they have a facility out there where they educate young people. They need money, obviously, for the upkeep of the building, for the building the toilets and services and stuff. So yeah, just check me out on there. Collaboration, I'm up for collaborations all the time. If anyone wants to do anything and work together
appreciate
on a project, let me know.
Yeah, I most definitely appreciate that. And there's one other thing I wanted to touch on, which is, like, when you give your sats to an organization like the ones that you're working with, for me, if I'm going to give my Bitcoin to anybody, I want to make sure that it's of value. Like I'm not trying to give my sats to McDonald's just because I don't like where it's going. So it makes me think a lot more consciously about where and how I'm spending my money, because...
Which is what money is. I say this all the time to people. Time, energy, and value. Money is speech, basically. We put it in paper form because it's easier, but basically, every time you spend money, that's your time and energy, and you're attributing value to that. So you might decide you want to go to McDonald's, but you're letting the world know at this moment in time you value a McDonald's. But when you don't go there, and when you buy something else, or when you think, I'm not going to buy this expensive pair of jeans, or I'm going to buy a cheaper pair of jeans, there's a reason for that. You're expressing value onto something. So
hugely.
When we get to a sound money standard, which Bitcoin is on the way to, or is, and when people start to understand it, you will start to see money move in the direction of value for value. So, as you said, when you're giving money to charity or to a company, what values do they hold similar to yourselves? What are they trying to achieve? Actually, I am going to give my valuable sats to that person or to that charity because I understand what they're trying to achieve. You're not just being frivolous because it's not easy money.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I am happy to leave off right there. Appreciate your time, Josias, and yeah, thanks for sitting down with me.
Well, your shirt we're going to collect shortly. We have a special made one for your size.
Done.
That will go nicely with your Real Bedford shirt.
Yeah, for sure.
You collecting them? I take it.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking to support. I'm just looking to support.
You're gonna have to get an Oxford City one with a Bitcoin logo on the back as well.
Done. Done. Medium. Set me up, and I'm more than happy to pay in sats because I believe in what you guys are doing. So yeah, definitely appreciate your time.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for
much.
sitting down with me.